No, I don't think so.
Thinking
It
about it.
seems straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to be straightforward for sure.
No, you got it. This is great. I appreciate your that. I'm not getting you when you in episode 2 or 3. You know, you've got you're well oiled here.
Yeah, well, and yeah, the 100th episode special goes live, I think, a week from yesterday. So we are at that point. You are, I think,
Congrats, by the way.
your interview like number 120 or something like that.
Okay.
And yeah, it's all good. So we are Facebook Live right now. We are here with a tech CEO, Charlie Vollmer, and so all you Facebook Live friends. If you have a question or a comment, feel free to share it. I'm not able to acknowledge any questions for Charlie or for myself until we're done recording. We're getting ready to jump into the interview recording actually at this point. So we are going to go live in 3, 2. We are live with Charlie Vollmer. Charlie, are you ready to talk?
I am. Thank you for having me.
A Minnesota boy at home in the mountains. When Charlie is not teaching his kids how to ski powder, he is using mathematics to tell computers how to discover patterns in data. Charlie has co-founded 2 software product companies based on artificial intelligence while a PhD student at Colorado State University in the real estate, fintech, and healthcare spaces. Charlie Vollmer, welcome to the talk.
Thank you so much, Nathan. Thank you very much.
Your talk is called Artificial Intelligence Will Never Exist, but it is so much better than that. So I'm looking forward to this. I went to your talk. I watched the talk. I'm thinking that you're defining artificial intelligence a little different than other people. And from the comments that I saw on your YouTube video, it seemed like it was a appropriately provocative title. So please take us behind the talk. And first off, just define your unique definition, I'm assuming, of artificial intelligence.
Sure. Thank you. So, no, you're totally right. And this was actually kind of the impetus behind wanting to add my voice to the conversation, right? Is that just the name artificial intelligence, everything around it is just doom and gloom, right? Everything is scare people and no one really knows what it is. Everyone just envisions their own kind of concepts. It's all sci-fi, right? But if we actually start to break it down, it's not like that. And it's, like I say in the title, it's actually just so much better than that. Because it's actually kind of a new paradigm of computing that computer science has reached kind of like I'll call it computing 2.0, and it's really around data and the data revolution. Everyone knows about data. Everyone knows about analyzing data, but we don't call it data analysis anymore. We're starting to call it artificial intelligence. And just the connotations behind those 2 words, they're very loaded, right? Artificial and intelligence. And the talk tries to really break down why are we calling it this, and can we do something better?
Charlie, am I hearing you right that you're equating artificial intelligence with big data? Did I hear that correctly?
Oh, definitely. So if you actually look at what artificial intelligence algorithms are, you look at Google's algorithms, you look at Facebook's algorithms, you look at Baidu's algorithms, they are all on big data, and they're just new algorithms on the data. So there's no intelligence behind it. There's nothing artificial about it either. It's humans that are controlling this. So yes, the terms that we use are just really obscuring what's actually going on.
Yeah, well, and I don't have the names to cite, but I read, it seems like every day, some expert, including some that I've heard of warning us about artificial intelligence, or they're throwing in Alexa in there and the whole Big Brother thing and these home apps that listen in on us and make decisions. So is this really, is what you're saying that we're just really in a case where the semantics and the names and the terms that we're using are being bandied about so sloppily, and it's causing a lot of unnecessary fear, confusion, and visions of the infamous HAL from the 2001 Space Odyssey?
Definitely. And that's kind of exactly what's going on. And you hear people like Elon Musk, right, who are very public about their stance, and you'll even see that Elon Musk nowadays is starting to change his attitude towards it. And actually what he warns isn't of the computers uprising, but actually the people behind the computers, right? The people who control the data and what they do with the data. And that's now starting to come to the forefront of the conversation. People are starting to talk about it. I mean, we see Mark Zuckerberg going before Congress, and people are now finally starting to see, oh, wait, data is valuable, and they're doing crazy things with data, and it's very personal, and it's very intimate data, and look at what these algorithms can actually do.
So instead of an evil rogue artificial robot leaking our Facebook data to Cambridge Analytica or their data or whatever the story was, it's really people. It comes back to people making the decisions, and to use this stuff often in unethical ways. Those are the ways that we're concerned about. So that's great. So you're really blowing the smoke and mirrors off of all this mystery, off of the fear-mongering and the technophobia that's out there, and saying, hey, at the end of the day, it's people holding the bag at the end of this.
Oh, definitely. And it's not just fear-mongering. That's a problem. I feel like that is definitely a problem. And we're always afraid of what we don't know, right? So advanced algorithms and, mathematics and computer science.
Well, it just sounds so, that word algorithm can strike fear into everybody's heart just until you understand what it is. Definitely. But people also use it to their advantage, right? So as a startup founder, I mean, people, if you just say, oh, I have artificial intelligence in my software, all of a sudden you can get founders, right? Because people just want to jump on that bandwagon that, oh, this is the next big thing. And so people use it to their advantage too. So it's being misused in many, many ways. Oh, for sure. So let's talk about the second part of your title. So the first part was artificial intelligence will never exist, meaning, if I'm putting words in your mouth here so you can correct me if I'm wrong. So meaning that big data is never going to be able to manage itself. It's always going to be controlled by a human one way or another. There might be increasing levels of autonomy, but it's always controlled and programmed and given life by a human. Actually, let's stop there. Is that a fair assessment of what we've talked about up until this point?
No, that's fair. That's correct. That a computer doesn't have its own motivation. A computer doesn't have its own desires. And this is really what intelligence is. And so computers don't have that, and they won't have that. So artificial intelligence will never exist.
They'll never have feelings. They'll never have motivations. They'll never have artificially created desires. In other words, okay. So second part of your title, it is so much better than that. So what I think we're starting to see the flip side of why it could be better, but go in depth on that as well.
Right. So why are people willing to give up their data to Facebook and to Google? Well, because it actually has benefit to us, right? We actually like hearing recommendations of new books and movies to consume. And if they're personalized to us, right? If I get coupons that are directed towards me, or even people that I'm more likely to engage with and enjoy being with, whether that be my future spouse, right? Through dating apps, or even Facebook is getting into dating now. So these algorithms running on our data help us. It is beneficial, right? And we're realizing that, and we're starting to embrace that. But if we actually think outside the box of, okay, now we can collect data at a new unprecedented level, and we can consume this data. The computers can analyze this data at an unprecedented level. Well, what does that mean for our future, right? We can actually start to think of how can computers best augment our own physical God-given abilities, right? We have brains, but they don't compute like a computer does. So we can't compute and digest billions and billions and trillions and terabytes of data like computers can. But what does it mean when we can harness that? And we can, right? If we direct a computer to do it, that means we can.
Charlie, what was the impact in the room of your talk?
I mean, at first, there's a lot of light bulbs going off because people see it. And the thing is, it's hard to bring a subject down to a general audience, right? A very technical subject, right? If you talk about artificial intelligence with computer science researchers, it's a very different thing than talking with your neighbor about it and the implications of it. But everyone should be engaged in this conversation because it affects all of us, right? So when you start to bring the conversation from the technical level, you expose it a little bit, light bulbs will start to go off because people can actually understand it. People can understand that, oh, my Android device is tracking every single movement I make. They know where I am and at what time. what implications does that have? People can understand that and think about that. And so when we take it away from this very kind of sci-fi, oh, artificial intelligence is this robot. No, artificial intelligence is actually someone choosing to collect my data and then do something with it. Well, all of a sudden now people can actually talk about that and they can start to process that in their own context.
So the light bulbs came on.
Definitely,
And
people are seeing
did that
it.
put people more at ease and kind of lower the resistance? So were you able to get a sense of your talk making a difference to help people take control, basically, and ownership of their devices and their data?
Definitely. The thing is that it opens up this new can of worms, right? With great power, right, comes greater responsibility. So once you
Spider-Man.
know that, right, once you know that you actually have a say in this and you can comprehend what's going on, now you have the responsibility of showing up and doing something about it, right? And it really means showing up and doing something about it, not taking that easy seat and saying, well, I don't care what Facebook does. Well, it actually matters if someone can pinpoint where your location is exactly within a building, right? And that's the default setting on Facebook chats, right, is to show your location to people that you're not even friends with and in your network. I mean, this is a human at Facebook. Many humans at Facebook made that decision, and they made it on behalf of you. But when you realize that, when you finally come to that moment, you're like, wait, they know exactly where I am, these people who aren't my friends?
Yeah, well, for sure. So stepping up and taking ownership of our data, our devices, our computers, the way that we live our lives, that's the name of the game. Now it's time to step up and take control of your talk universe, because it is all about you spreading your ideas. So we're going to jump into the Blitz round, where I am going to ask Charlie a series of either or questions related to the preparation and performance of his talk. Are you ready, Charlie?
Let me have it. Come
All
on.
right. Here's the first one. Were you selected to speak, or did you apply?
I applied.
Are you consider yourself a seasoned performer or new to the stage?
I'd say a little bit of both. I'm definitely not adverse to public speaking, but this stage kind of it gave me the jitters.
Well, are you a memorizer, an improviser, or a blender?
I would definitely say a blender. So I say that I memorized the outline and the skeleton, and I definitely improvise based on feedback that I get from my audience.
You mentioned nerves. So did you also find that you were in the zone, or neither, or both?
So there was a lot of build-up beforehand. I definitely felt sick right before going out there, but stepping out and performing is in the zone.
Cool. What did you do to? Was it just physically stepping into the light and just ending all the build up and physically placing yourself out there? Or was there other things that you did?
No, pretty much. I mean, you do so much preparation for it because it is a big deal and you want to make an impact and you want to do well, so you want to get your message across. And all that practice just kind of comes to fruition, and once you're out there, you're just so used to it. You've already envisioned it, you've imagined it, and then it's just letting it all happen, right?
Here's the cut for time question, Charlie. What was the most painful part of your talk that you had to cut out?
That I had to cut out. In my particular talk, a lot of technical details, right? I want to put in the technical details for completeness, if you will, but trying to keep it at a high level, was the difficult part.
For sure. What is a tip, a technique, or a tool that helped you?
Just staying focused on three. I always like to, any kind of class that I teach is three takeaways, right? What are my students going to remember 5 years from now, 3 years from now? Three takeaways. You can say millions and millions of things, but really they're only going to hopefully even remember three things. And if you just focus on those three things, then all the other stuff has, somewhere to go, and it's into those three things.
What would you say is the biggest challenge of your talk?
The biggest challenge is trying to hit a very broad audience, right? Any topic inside of the TED verse, right, is going to be kind of geared towards people who know something already, but you want it to be a broad audience, so you need to somehow direct it towards everyone who has different experiences, different backgrounds, in my case, different technical trainings or experiences.
How did you do that? How did you simplify things to the point where, because obviously being an expert it's called the curse of knowledge because we're blind to fancy words like algorithm, and we think everybody knows that. So what did you
Right.
do to keep that from happening as much as possible for your talk?
Right. So in my case, it's just talking with people, talking with as many people as you can, sharing this before the big day, right? Is actually talking about it with people, and you get a feeling for, well, where are they coming from? What do they see? Do they feel this way? Do they feel this way about the sci-fi aspect? Or what are they scared of? Are they scared of losing their job? Or are they scared of machines actually taking over? What are they scared of? And actually just getting the language from a multitude of people.
Well, and I hear you echoing what we've started out this conversation with, which is the motivations, the feelings of people in the audience. If you think about what makes them different from a robot or big data or something like that, you're doing it right there. The audience is comprised of people who are human beings who have
Right.
motivations, they have desires, they have feelings, they have history, they have we're just emotional beings, even in the tech space.
That's right. Even in the tech space, listen to Jeff Bezos, right? Focus on the customer. What does that mean? That means the people. That means focus on the people. What do the people feel? What do they want? Listen to that.
Charlie, it's a performance, right? So what was the most unexpected, strange, or just plain weird thing that happened in the middle of your talk or right before you went on?
Right. So I'll definitely say that was feeling sick in my stomach right before I went on. Didn't expect that. I stand up to go out there, and it's like, oh, this has been built up too much. Yeah. But stepping out there felt right, and it felt good. So.
We've been enjoying a great and fast-moving conversation with Charlie Vollmer, whose talk has been titled "Artificial Intelligence Will Never Exist, but It Is So Much Better Than That." I want to let you know where you can go to find out more about Charlie, and you can go to our show notes page on bethetalk.com. We'll have a link to that talk, and we'll also have a link where you can connect with Charlie as well. But now it's time to go right back to Charlie Vollmer for the final word of advice for Talk Universe.
Okay, so when it comes to artificial intelligence and talking about technology in our future, we all need to have a voice in this, and we all need to take part in how can we make our futures better? How can we take a human being? The idea behind artificial intelligence is fantastic. It's take a human being and augment our own abilities, make us better than we are, make us have capabilities that we don't currently have. And now that we're collecting data, and this data is very intimate data, it's very personal data, and it's so big and vast that it really describes, and we can describe human behavior to a level we never could before, right? Before it was just, is this person going to get in a car accident, and what should I charge them for a premium on their insurance? But nowadays I can actually start to say with very deep, correct accuracy, right? What kinds of health issues are you going to be having? How can we start to correct them now? How can we start to address them now? How can we live longer? How can we live happier and healthier, right? How can we be more secure in our physical spaces, in our jobs, in our family lives? How can we be more secure in our financial lives? And we can use big data to help us actually navigate all of this and use computers. And we need to embrace data and computers, but we can't be afraid of these kind of sexy terms that really scare us, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Yes, they are describing aspects of computer science, but they're not doing a good job of it because it's really instilling in us something that is not correct. It's instilling fear. It's instilling, danger, and like we should not be actually going after these things when we really should be embracing them, but in a different view.
Hey, Charlie Vollmer, thank you so much for coming on the talk today and sharing your wisdom with Talk Universe.
Thank you so much, Nathan. I really appreciate having me on, and I appreciate talking with you. You're a great guy.
All right. Great interview. Thank you so much.
That's it, huh?
That's it. Yeah, I told you it goes by
Yeah,
fast.
go fast.
So
Nice.
we got some thumbs up off of Facebook Live right there. Now we've got now the nice thing is your friends, family, and funders and other platform people don't have to wait. You can take this and share it and with them
Awesome.
now. They don't have to wait.
Can you give me that link, or will you give me that link?
What I'm going to do is I'll tag you in the link. If we're profile friends, if we're Facebook friends, then I can make it a lot easier to share it. And I try to share that on LinkedIn too. So
okay.
If we're not LinkedIn, I always put it on the guests because I can't reach out to 10 or 12 people a week and do all
Of
that.
course,
So
of
make
course.
sure not just Be the Talk, the page, but the personal profile, and then it'll be real shareable.
Okay.
All right. So I am actually